Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
Corey Gooden.
Just leave the paper there.
Your little legacy. Yeah, just before you leave, we just need to check you. Before you leave, just have a seat in the box. On Mr. Gooden, are we ready for sentencing here on this, Mr. Rodan? 23 CR 0770 is called the State of Texas versus Corey Manning Gooden. That is you? Present, your attorney, Mr. Burbank, the state's attorney. Earlier, you pleaded guilty to this third degree felony of evading arrest or detention with a motor vehicle. And a pre-sentence report was prepared. And have the parties had an opportunity to review it? Any corrections or changes to it?
I have objections to I have objections.
Okay, go.
I object to the statements of interested parties, which is page 1 and page 2. It deals in great detail in reference to a possible narcotics investigation, selling narcotics, and surveillance and all the things that he's supposed to have done. My only concern is that if they were so accurate in reference to what he was doing, this is the only offense that he was charged with at the time. So I object to just the generalizations of the officer throwing out allegations, seeming to say this is what he was actually doing when he wasn't arrested for it, nor charges have not been filed against him. In this case, as you could see, it has a lot of statements, and I just think that it should not be in this PSR report.
In response,
Judge, this would have been the same thing that would have been testified to at trial, of why they started watching him and why they had surveillance on him. And when he came out, when they went to go stop him, why they believe he took off. And whether he was found with stuff or not, he could have ditched it anywhere along the road at 100 miles an hour. But you also look at his prior history and the amount of drug charges that he's had, that you kind of see where it all comes from. And so I think it's.
what amazes me is the 34 traffic offenses. There's somebody obviously who does not appreciate and understand that a vehicle is nothing really more than a 4,000-pound missile, a metal missile. And too often in this courtroom, we see the carnage that it can cause when it is operated irresponsibly. It haunts us all.
And the other objection, Judge, is I've viewed the video, and I don't believe he came anywhere close to 100 miles an hour. There's some streets over by, was it Lamar, Washington Boulevard, I think.
He lost the police for a while.
Well, that was easy to do if you looked at the video. But there was no way that he was in excess of 100 miles an hour. But he evaded when he was pled to the judge.
The court has reviewed all of this, including in the pre-sentence report that's made a part of the record for the purpose of this sentencing, with comments of all parties and the court giving the consideration as they should. Number one is the court can consider the circumstances surrounding the commission of an offense. Next, the court can consider prior criminal behavior, but this court has always taken the position that unless it's been proven beyond a reasonable doubt, you can't call someone a criminal. So charging is one thing, but the court can't help but notice we have 17 misdemeanor charges, 25 adult felony charges, 2 federal court charges. And I'm looking at the end of the day, though, you got 2 dispositions of misdemeanors out of 2 misdemeanors of the felonies out of the 25, 1 out of the 2 federal court, and 5 out of the 17 misdemeanor. Now, what I get a little concerned about is included with the pre-sentence reports are records indicating the defendants are arrested or detained in Jefferson County for the following Class C citations, and we've got 34 here, 3 failing to appear, 1 city ordinance, 1 parole violation. That's almost 40 Class C misdemeanors, mostly almost all being traffic offenses. But then again, it doesn't say how those are disposed of. You certainly are arrested a lot, and especially for where are you employed? That's what I'm curious about right now. Are you employed anywhere right now?
Yes, sir.
Doing what?
Work for like a cleanup company, which is opportunities for deserving individuals,
What's the name of the company?
opportunities for deserving individuals.
When did you start that?
It's been like since I got out,
What? Give me a date.
maybe 2030.
Okay, about 7 months,
Yes, sir.
because it says currently employed with the foundation as a floor tech since June. That says June of 23. Is that it?
Yes, sir. It was like right when I got out.
No, what, you didn't call it that just a
I
second.
thought it was after my birthday, but it was before my birthday. I was trying to give you the exact date.
Before that, it was landscaping with your father for 4 years.
Found the beats. Yes, sir.
All right, let's do look at criminal history includes in misdemeanors, DWI, evading arrest, illegal possession of controlled substance, illegal possession of marijuana, and failure to identify that were disposed of cases. Felony, illegal possession of a controlled substance in 97. So you're not even eligible here for probation in front of a jury.
No.
And evading arrest or detention in 2019. That was disposed of, which was different from the 2014 evading arrest or detention misdemeanor. And then illegal possession with intent to distribute cocaine. Which you struggled with in 2004. So you were sentenced to 15 years.
Yes,
How long did you stay?
10 years.
Yeah, how long were you in prison?
10 years.
10. So they put you in supervised release in 2000. Actually, it looks like 8 years. You were put on supervised release in 2012 after serving 8.5 years. Then there was a violation of your release. Your supervised release was revoked and you were placed back in prison for 9 months. Is that
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
What was it What caused the supervised release violation in 2015? Trying to figure out what that one was all about. I can't tell. What did you do wrong there? You don't remember?
It's in your case.
No. There's some things going on.
Okay, anything else to add? What are you asking for?
Well, of course, I want deferred. His criminal history is pages. But probation officer says that except for the supervised release in federal, he's completed state probations. One of the options, Judge, is to allow him to plead to past prior. And so that instead of 2 to 10 that he's looking at, if he violates, he could possibly be looking at 2 to 20. If he feels really, sure that he's not going to violate this probation, he could possibly serve or plead true to 2 priors, which would possibly push him up to 25 to life. But that would not be my recommendation based on what I see in this PSI report. But he has during this time, I have met with him, I have met with his family, his children. He has complied with what, since I've been hired, with what I requested him to do. I believe that he's probably clean, correct? Are you clean?
Yes.
Okay, in reference to testing. But if you look at his record and everything he's done, you shake your head. Bottom line to this, Judge, is it's a great offer. 6 years. So in reality, you can calculate how much time he will actually do in TVC. And as you all know, that TVC does not rehabilitate anybody. And because of this offense, he'll probably not serve much time. And then there's no supervision really after that. So that's the only reason why I throw out the deferred. And this court puts them on a minimum of 10 years. But then increase the punishment range if he screws up. To see what he'll actually do, because I think this court would be justified in maxing him out if they do that, if he violates anything. Well, that's what I'm asking for. And he would like to address the court. He has been working, he has been with the family. I do not have an argument in reference to his past, but it is what it is.
Me next.
You can go, listening.
Judge, he's habitual, if you look at it. We didn't catch that federal conviction, so I guess we missed that on the indictment. So really, he'd be facing 25 to life if he were to be in front of a jury coming up. But looking at the offense that he committed and at the timing and everything, I gave him a break of capping it at 6 because he got a lot more in a federal time, but he got 5 years in state time before, and it just doesn't seem to be learning his lesson. I don't know what it's going to take, but I know that giving him probation is not going to straighten anything out because he's had all these opportunities, and you think that would straighten him out. Going to prison a couple of times, being in there for over 8 years in the federal pen, you think that would make him more respectful, at least stopping when police officers want to pull him over, doing things, but it just seems that he's just out committing crime after crime all the times he's been arrested and running from the police. He's done that before. We would ask for the 6 years. I think that's fair. I think gives him the message that you don't just get to get probation every time you mess up.
What do you say, sir?
So,
I'm sorry.
I never had no probation. Most of them charges is like when I was young,
Okay.
I'm just, because he said that I've had probation at the time. I've never had a no probation, but I also haven't been in trouble.
Well, you're wrong about that. We're gonna look at the pre-sentence report that's been part of the record here in 2018. You were placed on 6 months deferred or unadjudicated probation for a Class B marijuana, and it expired. It was only for 6 months and it expired on July of 2019. So you were placed on probation there. Then in 2019, there was the evading arrest adult felony probation, along with that illegal possession. You were placed on a year of probation in January of 2019, along with that misdemeanor.
Was that a class A or did they reduce that down to a misdemeanor?
It says 1 year deferred
That has to be a class A misdemeanor.
and it expired in 1 year.
Yeah, that has to be a class A misdemeanor.
Listen, then the federal, it's not probation, but it was supervised release, which was afterwards. He was, and he was revoked after serving 10 years in prison. It obviously didn't make a real impact on following the rules, as he was within 2 years there, he had a violation and then was revoked and sent back to federal prison again. So you've actually been on a form of supervision 3 times. But that's what this shows. What else? See, here's what bothers me. This evading arrest thing, that's 3 times. 3 of these. And here I'm looking at the circumstances, and this is the 4th one. This makes 4. You re-enter the vehicle, pull out onto 4th Street, failed to signal. They conducted a traffic stop. You drove away at a high rate of speed, recklessly by running stop signs and speeding. Your response to this, to the probation office, was when they ask you, what in the world happened? You state, I was on Avenue A. I didn't stop for the police because I didn't know why they were pulling me over. Plus, I'm not too trusting of them. Well, you're the one with the 50 arrests. You think people are trusting of you? When the red lights come on, you have this, I have the same responsibility you do. You have the same as me. We stop or else it's a crime and you get arrested like you did. Plus, how many people are you putting in harm's way by speeding through the streets? You ought to sit here. It doesn't take too many days without having to listen to people who have been killed or maimed or hurt in car crashes by people fleeing from the police. It's a selfish act. It's like you're on television with a game show, but it's real life because people's lives are put in jeopardy and people die from this kind of behavior. But you know this. It's not like you're a novice to the criminal system. You know how it works. Choices have consequences. You make good choices, good consequences. Bad choices, you're subject to punishment. Anything else?
Want to say something?
If not, I'm going to find you have pleaded guilty here voluntarily. You were mentally competent to do so. You understand and appreciate the consequences of pleading guilty.
Yes, sir.
There was sufficient evidence from State's Exhibit 1 admitted in this plea hearing to support your guilty plea, to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I am following this agreement. You were hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 6 years. It's a 4,000-pound missile. You treat it like it's a toy and you don't care about anyone else. It's just about you and your story about, I'm going to do this because I just don't trust the police. Well, the fact of the matter is the people don't trust you. We all have to stop when the red lights come on. And it's not doing it just because it's a rule. It's so we don't kill other people or ourselves. Doesn't that enter your mind? Because this is the third or fourth time you've been through this. It doesn't, yeah, you got to think about the other 7 billion people on the planet. We rely on your behavior for our safety. But we've learned that you can't be counted on. All right, you have to do better. There are other people on this planet, sir. Think about them if you don't think about you. That is all. Lejeune Scott,